Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm showing you guys how I install this frontal wig gluelessly, and we can already see that it's a look, so go ahead and smash the like button. I'll give you a second. I just know that like button has been hit by now, so we can get started. And the first thing that we're going to do is braid her hair straight back into some cornrows. The cornrows definitely do not have to be perfect. They don't have to be tiny. They just have to be flat. So gauge your client's hair texture and see how big you can space them out without them being lumpy. In order to clean off her skin to remove excess oil and dirt, I'm using this Dickinson's Witch Hazel. I don't use alcohol anymore because I learned that that does strip away your skin. So if you're using that, stop immediately, abort mission. But I'm using a cotton swab to basically vigorously clean her forehead off, because this is where I'm going to be laying the got to be gel, and I did this about 2 to 3 times before I started my next step. Next, I got the got to be glued blasting free spray, and I sprayed her edges back in order to make sure that all her hairline was pushed back and out of the way before I started laying down the gel. So I did that, and I used the blow dryer on the cool setting until it was dry. Next, I used the Got to Be gel in the black bottle, and I used my fingertips to apply a thin, even, yet generous layer in front of her hairline, everywhere that I'm going to be laying the frontal basically, so also on top of her ears. And I did go ahead and reinforce this gel with the Got to Be freeze spray in order to make sure that it has a strong hold, and I did go ahead and also rub that freeze spray in to make sure that everything was even. After that was done, I used my blow dryer on the cool setting for about 1.5 to 2.5 minutes until it was tacky, meaning sticky, not dry completely. And then I did go in with another layer and did the exact same thing. This is me going in with the second layer of Got to Be gel. As I said, I'm going to do the same exact thing. So I'm laying this gel down with my fingertips, and then I will reinforce it with my Got to Be spray. I will make sure that is even as well. I am then going to let that air dry. I'm not going to use the blow dryer because I was cleaning the lace off, but you can use the blow dryer in a cool setting if you want. And when it gets tacky, I did go ahead with another layer of the Got to Be freeze spray. So 2 layers of gel, but it was like 3 layers of the spray. This is the third and final layer of the Got to Be freeze spray. So I followed the same exact technique, spray it on, even it out with my fingers, blow dry it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then I made sure that the lace was going to match her skin. So I grabbed the Ruby Kisses cream contour palette, which I got at my local hair store, and I used a makeup brush to apply a even layer of makeup onto the wig, especially to the hairline of the wig. And when I was putting the wig on, I started in the center and I held it there for about 5 seconds to make sure that that was on. And then I moved on to making sure that the side of the wig was also laid. And once I had that where I needed it to be, I had her grab a hold of that. I used my comb to very lightly comb all the hairs out of the way because I didn't want them to stick down onto the Got to Be spray. And I made sure that the lace that was sitting on top of her ear was stuck down before I moved on to the other side and did the same thing. This little bubble that you guys see not laying down, sometimes that can happen when your lace is too long, so you need to cut it a little bit more. But in this case scenario, that wasn't the case, so I did just go ahead and lay all the edges that were not laying flat with some more Got To Be Free spray, and I used the tail of my rat tail comb with my blow dryer on the cool setting just to dry those pieces down before I tied her hair up. I used this white elastic band that I got from Walmart, I believe, to tie her edges down, and I had her hold the blow dryer to her head on the cool setting while I styled her head. So she wanted her part on the right side of her head, so I'm just making sure that everything with the parting is right, the angle where the parting starts. They usually say it has to start at the arch of your eyebrow, but I guess you just shape the face of whoever you're working with. And then I went ahead and clipped the hair where my swoop bang is going to be out of the way before I proceeded to making sure that the part that's going to be tucked behind her head is nice and flat. And I did use the flat iron to make sure that this hair was as flat as possible, because the hot comb is going to be your best tool when it comes to flattening out hair in this sense. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I did hand make this wig for her like a year ago, I think, and we installed it a couple times already. So the back of the cap probably has lost some elasticity by now. So just to make sure that it is tight and that she feels safe with it on her head, I am sewing that down to the bottom of her braids before I start flat ironing her hair. And I am going to go ahead and fast forward me flat ironing her hair, because y'all know how to flat iron basically. And just to let you guys know, she was holding this blow dryer for the entire styling process, so she was drying her hairline for about 25 to 30 minutes. When I got to the front of her head, I started using the flat iron to flatten out her roots as well as the rest of the hair, as well as the hot comb to make sure that the roots were as flat as possible. Because since we're going to be swooping the bang, we don't want it to be lumpy or like not flat. So you have to use both at the top. You go in with the hot comb first, and once you got that as flat and as smooth as possible, you go ahead and flat iron the rest of the hair. So when that was done, I did take the elastic band off, and it might be sticky because of the Got To Be Free spray, but that's fine. Just take your time and like pull it off. You'll be all right. And the frontal looks good, right? For like no glue, this looks really good. So the side was kind of white and flaky, so I just used a cotton swab with some alcohol or witch hazel, one or the other, to clean that off before I started shaping baby hairs. I cleaned up her part just a little bit more. This was an asymmetrical bob, as you guys can see. That was the last style that we did with this frontal, but today we're just going to do the whole thing blunt cut. And I parted out some baby hairs. Next, I used some mousse to mold that hair back. As I said, we want the hair to be a pushback, so I'm molding the hair back and putting it in place where I want it to be. And I also reinforced that with some Got To Be Free spray. This is an alternative to using spritz. I don't know if people still use that, but Got To Be Free spray holds just as well. It's not as harsh, it's not as hard and crunchy and ghetto. So I did that. I used my rat tail comb to push that in place, making sure that that is nice and flat before I started working on my baby hair. I didn't go crazy with the baby hair because this is straight hair and it's a sleek bob. So I cut my baby hair with the, I don't know what you call this, a razor, very short because we don't need to do the most on this wig. It's not like no deep wave where you want to be like a Puerto Rican mommy type wig. It's supposed to be sleek. Like this video if you've ever applied mousse to your baby hairs thinking that you're about to get some laid edges and then your wig lifts up right after you apply glue. That has happened to me before with glue, so I'm not going to use mousse on the baby hair when this is glueless, especially when got to be can lift because of like moisture. So I'm going to use the yellow bottle of the got to be because this just looks better on baby hair in my opinion, to shape her baby hair using this edge brush. It has like a comb and a brush on it, so using the comb and the brush and my fingers to mold the baby hair, I got that together. The hair on the sideburns had gotten crunchy and had got stuck to her skin because of like, tying the edges down in the freeze spray. So I'm using some witch hazel with a cotton swab to lift that up from her skin. And then I'm just going to shape her sideburns using the yellow got to be the same way I did the edges. Moving on, I'm parting a little section of this wig to cover the tracks in the back because this is a handmade wig again by House of Vane Official. Follow us on Instagram. And I did use a hot comb to flatten that back part out, as well as use the hot comb to flatten out the front swoop bang. I know y'all see the little patchiness in the wig. Like I said, we have installed this frontal a couple times, so don't worry about that. I'll show you how to get rid of that. But right now, I'm just shaping that swoop bang and tucking it behind her ear, getting all the hair in place before I like reinforce it with other things. And I'm cleaning the little dry flakes from her sideburns there as well because I just fixed her edges right quick. The little sideburn, I just fixed it super quick before I went in with the got to be freeze spray to mold this bang. Now you can use mousse is a better alternative because it wouldn't get dry as fast as the got to be and you could really take your time to mold it. But with the got to be freeze spray, I know it's not gonna lift this wig even though this wig was really on, but I didn't want to take too much risks. I did use a little bit of mousse, but not that much. But the got to be freeze spray did the job. You just have to work fast and then you have to blow dry it on the cool setting to make sure that it is dry and that it is in place. Again, if like she like gets hit by some wind, I don't want this swoop bang to go flying, so I just reinforced that little pushback part behind her ear with some more spray, and I not flat ironed it, and I blow dried it on the cool setting. I didn't have to do much cutting because this was already a bob, but I did have to go ahead and cut the sides to match the rest of the blunt cut. No biggie, it was just real fast, just cut that little piece like, chop chop. But this is what I meant right here when I said like if her hair shakes, if her head moves, I don't want the swoop bang and the pushback to be pushed out of place. So you know that you reinforced the hair enough. There was this little part of her sideburn that was sticking to her forehead and some got to be. So I'm just taking that off with some witch hazel and then I'm like swooping it in with the rest of the sideburn because it was just sitting there like that. Like that's annoying. And I'm OCD when it comes to stuff like this. Like, that's like gonna bother me. And if I leave it alone and I take pictures of you and I look at it later, I'm gonna be real upset. So I just had to fix that up super quick. And now I'm going to show you how to fix the little patchy patch, which is normal when you have a frontal or a lace for a long time. Sometimes you get bald spots from scratching, from combing excessively, whatever. But I'm just adding some black makeup with a makeup brush to these parts, and then I spray some got to be over it to get rid of the ashiness, and that was it. She is ready. This is the final look. I'm going to remind you guys one more time because, I got y'all. If you forgot to like this video, go ahead and like this video, and I will see you next time.